Introduction to Architectural Drawing, Wall Section, Video 3. Once we have our structure in place on our drawing, we can now add our notes, our hatching, and all of the finished details we need to complete the drawing. To finish out our attic and our truss drawing, we will add a connection plate to the top chord and the bottom chord at their connection. The plate is a simple 3x3 square. And its location is somewhere between the connection of the top and bottom chord. Next, we will also draw the same size plate on the bottom chord at the web intersection. And we will draw a third plate to connect the web and the top chord. Now we will draw the insulation for the attic and the walls. To do this, we will draw a circle which touches the left and right boundaries of the stud. And you will draw one circle and then copy that circle quadrant to quadrant up the entire length of the wall. Next, you will draw a line down the center of the circle, or the set of circles, and we will trim opposite sides of the circle. Next, we will copy these circles all the way up the wall so that you have a full pattern from finished floor to finished ceiling. We will perform the same steps again for the attic. However, the circles will be larger than the boundary of the bottom chord because the attic insulation is always thicker than the bottom of the truss. So we'll draw a circle. In this example, it's 4 3/4 inches for the radius. However, it can be 5 inches. It could be 4 inches. It really just depends on the code of the local area where the home is being built. But for an arbitrary number, I chose 4 3/4. We will copy left and right and trim. And once we have completed the circles, we will have our insulation represented as you see here. All right, next we will draw our rebar in the concrete. Now this is something that the structural engineer will specify on the structural drawings, or the rebar will be set per the local code. For our drawing, we will complete a set of circles on the rebar layer. You will need to measure the location of these circles and the location and length of this rebar line. Okay, after that we will draw the anchor bolt, which is a concrete anchor which holds the stud wall onto the slab. Again, you will need to draw the anchor bolt by measuring with your architectural scale. And once you have completed the anchor bolt, you will have a visual that looks like this on the finish layer. Next, we will draw the hidden line, which is represented by the top chord of the truss being behind the 2x4 that we have used for the overhang. So that will be the S hidden layer. Next, we will add our hatching. Now for hatch patterns, we will use the generic hatch layer. To draw a hatch into your drawing, you will need to draw a boundary with a polyline first. So you will use the polyline command, and you will trace the boundary where you need your hatch pattern to occur. So for the concrete slab hatch pattern, I will draw a boundary around my slab, a continuous boundary. To place the hatch, you will choose, you will type in BH for boundary hatch. Press enter. And we will pick an internal point, which will be inside the boundary. But before we do that, we need to specify which pattern we would like to use. For this example, we will use the AR concrete pattern, and the scale we use will be according to the size of our drawing, so that can be changed according to what we need. So for this example, a 1-inch pattern is okay. I used a 1-inch pattern, AR concrete, on the hatch etc. layer, so 1 inch will work. Once I've placed my hatch pattern, I can delete the boundary, and you will repeat the same process for each of these hatches. We have gravel as the hatch below. It is 4 inches below the slab. And then we have the earth pattern, which is for the soil. And finally, we will label all of our building components with a leader line and a set of text. To do this, we will change our layer to the S Note layer. We will first select the standard 1 text style and the dimension 1 text style. Since our drawing is 1 inch equals a foot, we will need to represent all of our text and dimensions with the 1 inch style. Okay, once we have selected our sizing and our layer, we will type in leader or LE. The first location that we select will be where the arrowhead appears. So I will start with the facade, for example, and I will draw a nominal length for my text line. So you may need to press F8, turn on your ortho mode to get the line to be straight. Okay, once you've selected the endpoint, we will press enter one time. And we can enter the first line of our text. Cancel that. We are not going to use that feature. We will use our own text. We were going to type MT for multi-line text, and we will draw a window, and here we are. We'll go facade, parentheses per elevation, in parentheses. If you ever have this happen where the line wants to turn, you can stretch out the text box. Alright, once we're done, we'll click outside the text window, and we have the facade and the leader next to one another in separate commands. Now your text should be evenly spaced throughout the drawing. So the spacing that is included here will also be the same up here and the same down here. All of our leaders will stretch away from one another, meaning they could never intersect. So this leader will continue this direction all the way down, then this guy will go that way, this one would go up here. They always fan away from one another. We never want our leaders to touch or have the ability to touch down the line. So we will use simply copy. We'll copy our text, and we will choose a spacing that is appropriate, and then we will copy one more time, choose the original leader, and select that as our spacing point all the way down. Once we have selected the spacing, we can then just move the top of the leader and have it select to the points that we need. So the tail of the leader will not move once we have copied it in, as long as we only move the top of the leader.